Yo, I did do a video already where I broke down why I think it's difficult for urban women to comprehend that your spouse comes first or whatever, because 9 times out of 10, 75% of them, they're bringing children from other Negroes to their new relationship, so they can't fathom why a husband or a man would come first. Besides the fact that we're matriarchal, gynocracy is at AF. But despite all the effort going on with Terry Crews right now, um, the one thing that I think he is right is that his wife is the only one he got to be responsible for. And I'm saying that doesn't mean that you don't help or do other things, but I'm saying, like, in that instance, because everybody keeps saying Gabrielle Union stood up for you and she did this and that. Gabrielle Union tweeted some tweets from the comfort of her home and the luxury of her own home. There was no threat or no loss to what Gabrielle Union had to say. And I think it's asinine that people are making a comparison to him, which think, I'm up below my video where I talked about it. I think he's a broken buck. And he's just trying to protect his bag. Nonetheless, you can't compare him getting some support from some random women who have nothing to lose in that situation to him being in a situation where it's clearly they set that shit up and it was meant for him to, capitulate or to, counter what she said. But the Breakfast Club did a conversation about who comes first. DJ Envy tried to ask the question to Charlamagne and the bird, I forgot her name, Angela. And of course they had to be all difficult and dumb. And it's weird. Every time a traditional value structured conversation comes up, the Breakfast Club goes out of their way to like minimize it and dumb it down and push it away. Now, I've always been under firm belief that a husband and a wife are become one flesh. That's a scriptural, textual context of it, right? Like, you come first, your spouse comes first. You don't let anything come in between your marriage, like, because that's a rock and a foundation. Is a structure that you build upon, and you don't let anything weaken that or mess with that, because you don't choose your parents, you don't choose your children, but you do choose who you have children with. You do choose who you choose to walk down the aisle with. So that's something that bond should be deeper and stronger. And I don't know what it is with our culture, but we don't have that. Now, I'll go deeper detail why women have the issue with that. But even Charlamagne trying to act like he can't pick or choose and blah, blah, blah. And this motherfucker been cheating on his wife for 20 of the 23 years he been with her. But he can't say he would choose his kids or her or whoever if it came down to it. He don't want to do hypotheticals. Kobe just died on the chopper. Like, accidents happen. Stuff happens where you might have to save one person over the other. And my philosophy is you save your spouse, you save your wife. But that's not apparently everybody's opinion nowadays. Everybody got these weird. Now, I know some people say that they made agreements with their spouse that, okay, we've lived our life long enough. If something happened, we gonna die and let the kids live. Now, I don't agree with that, but I understand it, right? And the funny thing about that is, what happens when somebody reneges in that situation? What happens when, because that's easy to say that, oh, we had a pact and we had an agreement. But when shit hit the fan, when there's one life, when there's one life left, what you gonna do? Or it's not enough boats, what you gonna do in that moment? But it gets complicated and it's weird because it's like, of course, the man's gonna sacrifice his life for his family. But there are but I'm saying, but when we talk about this thing, we're talking about when it's like not life or death. I would say more so like, I'm not gonna choose to make you unhappy versus making my wife unhappy, my children or my parent. And they were just being dumb as hell on the Breakfast Club segment. Charlamagne can't answer the question like, nigga, you've been cheating on your wife for damn near 92% of y'all marriage, and now you can't answer a damn hypothetical question. Like, you that fake woke. Then Angela, I don't got no kids, but I would think it would be the kids. And then two callers called in and said, the wife said me, and the dude said his wife. And they're just, Charlamagne gonna read the definition, talking about, do you know what the definition of please is? Like, the man said what he said. Why is there such a pushback, especially from the Breakfast Club? Like, I get it we're matriarchal, gynocracy, and all that nonsense, but it's just weird. There's always a pushback. When Fantasia was on a few months ago, and she said what she said, and Charlamagne was there at the time, but Angela, well, can't we be equal? Blah, 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 blah. Like, there's always some shit in this mainstream media trying to push. So, what I'm basically saying is, like, what's being propagated in the media and what's being taught and what's being talked about in these podcasts and conversations, they're not reflecting these fake ass level up hypercommitted chicks rhetoric, because men have options not to deal with women who think like that. Oh, I got some smoke coming for those chicks later on. I'm gonna address them a little bit later on. But that's just my video, yo. Like, your wife comes first, your spouse comes first. Like, that's not rocket science. Period. Like, you don't let anything come between it. I watch situations where, you know, like, a kid is troubled and in drugs and all that, and one parent is like F them and they messed up, and the other parent is just giving them money and letting them be in situations where they can hurt them and lose money and steal from them and whatever. Or a kid dies in the military and something happens bad and they divorce because they let that situation come in between them. They let something be bigger than their marriage. You don't do that. That's just my philosophy. People may think otherwise. What do you think, though? Who comes first in that situation? I will upload my video. Why I think urban women tend to not comprehend a man coming before her children. It's usually because them ain't his kids and that bond is already there, and they can't fathom the idea of that, of putting them in as not, you know, their biological kid's father before their kids. Ironically, some of these same women be wanting these dudes to adopt their kids and treat them kids like they was their own, blah, blah, blah. That's a different conversation, though. But Terry Crews is right on that one issue. And people are twisting it. Like, I seen the Colors chick did a video saying, see, these men been saying all this time that we don't have to do anything for anybody else but our blah, 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 blah. He's saying that in the situation that he was clearly in, he had something to lose. And him losing it isn't just him losing it, it's his wife who he has to provide for and his family. And he's saying more than his daughters and his mama, who he has to answer to, who he has to be responsible for, who he has to talk things over with, is his wife. That's what the F he was saying. These butthurt divest chicks is flipping it and making it something else. Right? Again, nothing Gabrielle Union said or did had put her in any position to be compromised. Clearly, he's in the position that could be her. This is messing with his bag if he start co-signing what she was saying. Obviously, that's the situation that he's in. But, yeah. Terry's right. Your wife comes first. She's the only woman you gotta please and do whatever. And I think the fact that a lot of people don't think that way is why a lot of y'all relationships are trash and crazy. And when children are involved from different relationships and whatnot, the divorce rates is even higher. And it's like, come on. The one dude even left an analogy in the Breakfast Club segment. He was like, well, you seen the movie with Terrence J and his mom was he was the mama's boy, and he finally put his mom in her place and got her out the way and blah blah blah. Ainsley, he dumbass will say, you know that's the movie, right? No shit, Sherlock. He gave a pop culture reference that people know, could understand. Everybody can relate because they understood, and we all watched that shitty movie. To make a point that the dude was doing too much and he was letting his mom too much in his life and it was affecting his relationships. And if you want a healthy, positive relationship with your spouse, your significant other, you don't let anybody come in between it like that. But man, I don't know what's wrong with my people. We so far gone. I'm out. No, I want to emphasize this though, because we could get out of hand with the whole support black women thing, because sometimes sisters want to do things that put themselves in situations that are negative or are bad or come with a lot of backlash. And part of protecting a woman is to keep her from harm. But when they disavow or disobey, I don't know y'all like that word, your protection, your vision, then they on their own. I mean, like, that's a part of it. So putting yourself in situations that are negative and are harmful to get yourself, and then saying, y'all won't protect us, that's not cool, that's not fair. Protection is to keep safe. It's to keep from harm. Not you go into harm and do some stuff and then expect people to come out and put the capes on. I wanted to reiterate that because I remember there's certain situations that happen in the media and black men get a bad rap because we don't just jump on a bandwagon and we don't look for all the evidence first. Or we saw what happened with Jesse Smollett. Black men sitting home minding their own business, not doing a damn thing. All of a sudden, it's our fault we didn't defend this man because we knew he was lying. Huh? We saw what happened with April Mason's cousin. She was lying. We've seen several times where black men took their time and process. Not all black men look at all these unarmed brothers getting shot the same. There's context to them. I don't look at Trayvon the same way I look at Mike Brown or Tamir Rice. There's different contexts to those situations. So this idea that support them no matter what, like, what if I don't agree with them? When Corinne Gaines was going through her situation and getting smoked, a lot of black men were looking at her in the car talking to the cops sideways, and some of us could not see outside of that. Like, damn, I couldn't do any of that. Something was wrong with the chick. But all over YouTube, the blackest stands, the diverse chicks, the swirlers, the colorist chicks, the black man didn't stand up for her and didn't defend her, and we do this. Yeah, y'all will jump up and defend somebody who's guilty. Hashtag R. Kelly. Y'all will still support a person despite evidence and information. We might be a little bit more logical than that. So that's one thing I don't like, though, because they're framing it as this all-inclusive situation. All circumstances are not the same. I agree that if you don't know or if you don't, have information, you be silent. But in reality, when black men are silent because we're processing information or we're trying to figure the things out, we still get killed for it because we didn't have a knee-jerk reaction to jump up and look like fools. Like, again, time after time, a lot of women do. When Jesse Smollett was getting in trouble, how many black women stood up for him despite all the damning evidence that was lying? I'm talking about black celebrities, politicians, you name it. They were all like, well, I need more information. Like, what more do you need? It's all right there. Kim Fox put her neck on the line for this dude. A new prosecutor who barely won. Her job is to prosecute crimes. She, I would say from her short time there, is somewhat of what Kamala will never be, right? A progressive prosecutor. She's done some things that are good and valuable, but she went on a limb. And I'm sure that that her going on the limb came from the top down, i.e. Barack Obama or his wife, one of them. But she put her neck on the line for somebody who's clearly guilty. And it's going to be a bad reflection on her. But I want to put that in there, right? Because every situation is not the same. And you as a black man can have a difference of opinion. And as I said before, the way, like the situation with Jamel Hill and her, I don't even know her ex-co-host's name, but that bothered me when he was like, I'm not going on the air unless she goes on the air. I'm like, did you talk to your family first? Did you discuss what that might mean for that situation? Where is he at? Michael Smith, I think his name is. I haven't heard of him since. I keep hearing about her, tweeting articles. Everybody want to talk to her. What love does he get? I mean, everybody shouted him out. And that's the thing that people don't understand is like, we all be wanting people to be the rebel and the rebellious and to take their shots and take their L's and go. And time again, we see when that happens, nobody's there for that person after they lose everything in our community. And it's not. The brother who put his fist up in the Olympics, he lost everything. His wife, his ability to have future jobs, his friends. He said he would still do it again, but in my estimation, it's like, damn. He didn't think about his family first in that situation. He thought about the whole collective community. And I'm saying, what was the price? What was the cost? He claims it's worth of him. For everybody, it's not going to be. Men can support black women, black men, the way they want to support them, not the way y'all think y'all should. After we do our research and we make sure our shit is good at home, yeah, we can go on the limb, but to believe otherwise, it's just foolish. And another thing, people keep saying Gabrielle Union stuck up for him and blah, 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 and all these people who had nothing to lose stuck up for him. Her tweeting from the comfortability of her own home. Gabrielle Union can lose everything tomorrow as far as getting no more acting gigs, no more jobs. Label, she could be on some Monique shit. Talking about, hey, my loves, I want you to boycott Netflix. Shout out to Monique. She finally got a special on Showtime. Oh, now she wants to call. I'll be back. Oh yeah, the point that I was making is that Gabrielle Union can lose everything tomorrow and not have any more gigs, and she's still gonna be okay because she's married to a top 10 professional athlete of all times. I'm not saying that's her goal, but I'm saying when you weigh out the cost, like it's a horrible comparison to say, well, I stuck up for him, so he should stick up for me. Terry has an entire family dependent upon him. Gabrielle Union, she claims that yeah, she got issues and her parents need stuff, but nonetheless, you have a multimillionaire husband who left his wife. I mean, he left his mother and his ex-wife, and he cleaved to you. And I'm sure he has no problem uh, financially helping out your family as well. I'm not saying that's her goal and that's what she wants. I'm just saying like that's a false equivalency. What she's gonna lose versus what he can lose when he has way more people dependent upon him than she does. And not to mention, perception wise, people have an expectation that Dwayne Wade would step up in that situation. But yeah, don't say that. But I don't know. It's just more gender war stuff. It's getting worse. It's not getting better. Everybody doing this tit for tat shit, and it's corny. As adults that we're doing that, I'm watching sisters who, I converse with saying like, he didn't want to stick up for us. I'm done with him too, and I'm like, but he's been here for y'all for years though. Like, why would you get interrupted? He's been on your team pretty much for years. He's been that voice. He's been that. Before Derrick Jackson it was Terry Crews, okay, and now all of a sudden over this one incident, now it's we done with him. Like really, like damn, like, huh? It is what it is. I'm out. But Terry Crews is right though. His wife is all he has to please. I don't know what the freak Charlamagne was doing. That was some dumbass condescending stuff with the whole. Well, do you know what the definition of please means? No. That's not what his point was. His point was his wife has come first. His point was what affects her is more important than anything. So I'm going to take her home first. And I would think that would be, how shit works and how people should operate. Or maybe that's not why how people think. That's why our divorce rate is so goddamn high, worse than the national average in the black community. Maybe that's why Charlamagne can cheat on his wife 20 out of the 23 years they've been together. And all of a sudden, relationship, my wife and my kids are equal, and nobody come between, and I'm gonna kill myself if they had something happen to them, or I want to die too. Like, where was that energy at when you was cheating on your wife every night? Where was that love? I'm in love with my daughters when you were sleeping with other women. Come on, my guy, like stop. But to each his own. Some folks is gonna put their kids first, and that explains why a lot of folks end up in divorce court because they let things go in between their marriage. I just think that's a golden rule. You don't let anything come in between you and your spouse. That's a foundation you do not let rock. Let it, you know what I mean? You take care of home first. Or at least that's how I think. I'm out.